Hello, friends. Happy Friday. Welcome to the start of your weekend. Welcome to my Ash Gregoire Shaman Nissan Maxima, the SR trim line. It's a V6 engine, 300 horsepower in this bad boy. And between you and I don't have my winter tires on yet. I just had a lot of stuff I've had to get done right with this podcast. We're going to have a very exciting announcement to make, something I'm very proud of, something I'm very proud to tell you about. So stay tuned to this channel and this space as I will have breaking news, as they like to say in the business. Breaking news coming at you in the not too distant future. Very, very good news that's going to benefit all of us together as we grow this together. Welcome. Happy Friday, everybody. Waiting to put my winter tires on. It's a damn cold Friday morning. Apparently, I'm going to get my winter tires on Monday. So if you could do me a favor, don't tell the police to look out for a speed demon driving a Nissan Maxima SR trim line on my summer tires. Luckily, I've been pretty fortunate in the one sense that we haven't had to deal with some pretty gnarly weather yet, as we are into December on this second day. Listen, I don't want to bring this podcast to a screeching halt as I've just gotten going this morning, but it's been a very interesting year, no doubt, in the aftermath of the pandemic and everything else. And a year ago today, we lost our dog, Leon, a year ago today. And I don't want to get bogged down in that type of stuff. I want to talk about the Montreal Canadiens as the Habs are ready to roll, coming off a 2-1 win on the heels of an impressive performance in Calgary. Was it truly impressive, or did they just kind of get what they've always been getting, which has taken us to the they exceed expectations part of the Montreal Canadiens' 23-game start to their season, and that is heroic goaltending, right? The Montreal Canadiens, certainly in the first month of October, that crept into the first 2 weeks of November, were getting, top 5 goaltending in the National Hockey League. The tandem of Jake Allen and Sam Montembeault had been electrifying, and it kind of, we saw Jake Allen, who went into the game last night with a pretty, subpar record. He was 6-8, had a save percentage below 900, hovering around the 890 mark. Last night, he was full value for his 45 save performance as the Montreal Canadiens got cracked in Calgary, but they were the ones that came out on top with the 2 points and the 2-1 victory. We'll talk about Cole Caufield's game-winning goal and what a pass it was from Nick Suzuki, as Caufield now sitting on 13 goals, prorated 46-goal season. But Jake Allen saved the day for the Montreal Canadiens, and boy, did he ever need that one. And he'd been struggling. Look, the Montreal Canadiens have been giving up easy goals to start hockey games on their back foot, chasing, not setting the pace, because Jake Allen had found himself in his own personal slump to start the season. And last night, he was 21 for 21 in the game's third period. He kept his team in it when they were getting outshot 12-6 in the first period. The Canadiens put 19 shots on Jacob Markstrom yesterday, 19 for the entirety of the game, and won 2-1, as the Calgary Flames just have all sorts of issues, right? They have issues, certainly in goal. They thought Jacob Markstrom was going to be the guy. We know what happened in Vancouver. It didn't work out there. The Vancouver Canucks have their own issues now. They're plagued with injuries, including Thatcher Demko, as the Montreal Canadiens start a 4-game road trip with a pretty interesting 2-1 victory that now, again, continues to see this team play above expectation. But the news wasn't great, with a couple of injuries, primarily to Brendan Gallagher, lower body. Mike Hoffman placed on IR, also with a lower body injury. The Canadiens will hit up Edmonton on Saturday. They got Vancouver and Seattle before they return back home. As we know, the Montreal Canadiens are in a tough part of their schedule. Guess what? It's going to stay that way. Did you know that the Montreal Canadiens have the second toughest remaining games left on their schedule versus any team left in the National Hockey League? Only the Florida Panthers have a more challenging remaining schedule left to play this season than the Montreal Canadiens do. So I guess it's good news, bad news. The good news, if you're on Team Tank, I think you like your odds. The fact that the Montreal Canadiens have the toughest stretch of games outside of the Florida Panthers than anybody or any other team in the National Hockey League. On the other side, I see a trend developing with the Montreal Canadiens this season, and that is they play up to the level of expectation. They tend to to deal with good teams, with good players that are consistent performers, it seems that Montreal kind of rises to the challenge, which to me is a little bit of a hallmark of an immature team, which takes us to Sean Monahan. What do you do with 28-year-old Sean Monahan? This guy's a newly rebuilt body. He's got new hips, and it looks like he's refound his touch. 2 great assists in his return to Calgary. Remember, this guy was drafted by the Flames, brought up by the Flames, was a star for the Calgary Flames, and ultimately injuries have derailed Sean Monahan's career to the point now where they let him go. And the Montreal Canadiens got him, and boy, does he pay dividends. 28 years old, 2 assists last night in the Canadiens' 2-1 win, a very emotional return for Sean Monahan in Calgary. Nice little video tribute by the Flames organization during the first commercial break in the first period yesterday. Good respect for a pretty honest, hard-working player, and the Montreal Canadiens have found themselves with a decision to make. Listen, I don't know what side of the ledger you find yourself on when it comes to Sean Monahan and his future prospects as they relate to the Montreal Canadiens, but put me firmly in the category of let this guy continue to perform and develop time and game again, and then get the most you can get for Sean Monahan between now and March 3rd for the NHL trade deadline. And let's be honest here. Like, I like Sean Monahan. I think there is value to having vets surround younger players as you try to round out your team with the aspiration of trying to win a Stanley Cup, right? Like, legitimately compete for one. Like, Corey Perry's a great example of that. Like, what veteran presence and what their experience can mean to younger players that are trying to figure out the lay of the land in the NHL. Corey Perry's a great example of what he meant to players like Cole Caufield, what he meant to a guy like Nick Suzuki, so much so that those players still reach out in tough times and in questionable situations. How do they navigate this? How do they manage their bodies? How do they manage their energy? How to navigate a tough sport that sees you travel all the time, playing 82 games. It's a physical sport, the ebbs and flows. Corey Perry's been around the National Hockey League for more than a minute. And so, yes, to have a guy like Sean Monahan is important. I just don't think the timing is right. That's all. For sure, like in the hypothetical world of the Montreal Canadiens have shown you that they're ready to take the next step. Suzuki, Caufield, Kirby Dach, Josh Anderson, Caden Gooley, Jordan Harris, all these young bucks, all these young future stars, these young prospects are all delivering consistent performances. And so you're sold with the concept of this team can do some damage. This team can be dangerous. Sure, Sean Monahan has a place, absolutely, on a team like that. But the Montreal Canadiens, I don't think, are that team today. And I think maybe they're getting there quicker than some of us thought they would. But in the here and now, 23 games deep into their season, however many more games they play between now and March 3rd, I want Sean Monahan to score. I want Sean Monahan to produce. I wanted to see this guy be a key cog. And then I want to see Ken Hughes trade him for a first-round pick if those things hit, right? Like, remember, we spoke about this on Monday. Ken Hughes has said publicly he wants a third first-round selection at the draft in 2023. He's got 2. How do you get one more? We made the case in our video on Monday about Joel Edmondson. If Ben Sherratt can get you a first-round pick out of the Panthers, what the hell could Joel Edmondson do? And what could you do if you sweeten the pot, right? Especially when we get to the playoffs, and you know as well as I do, every playoff contending team, every playoff hungry team wants a surplus of defensemen. And Joel Edmondson fits the mold 1,000%. So there are options for Ken Hughes. And I believe Ken Hughes is a very smart, shrewd manager. And so I really have little doubt that we're going to be talking, you and I, between the games leading up to March 3rd, that Sean Monahan, or after March 3rd, Sean Monahan's going to be here. Or that when the Canadiens play their 82nd game of the regular season, and whether they make or miss the playoffs, I don't think we're going to be having a conversation about the worthiness of Sean Monahan being re-signed to the Montreal Canadiens on a 4-year deal. Like, the Canadiens have players we don't even talk about, you and I, coming up that are either playing collegiate hockey or playing junior hockey that are going to try to fight for roster spots, whether it's next year or the year after that. So, you know, as good as the Canadiens have been playing, they've been taking advantage of situations that have been presented to them, whether it's an easy schedule, a soft schedule, weak opponents, whatever the case may be. You can only beat and play who's in front of you. And the Canadiens have done a much better job than most of us thought they would do 23 games deep into the season. But let's keep our eyes on the prize. And the prize is building a contending team, right? My partner on the TSN 690 morning show, I think, put it best. Re-signing Sean Monahan is a Marc Bergevin move. I completely agree with Connor McKenna's point of view when it comes to having the debate of the worthiness of re-upping with Sean Monahan. Again, the value is there. You can make an argument. And I think I presented a good example with Corey Perry and the value that a guy like Corey Perry could have to a team that needs that experience, that needs that calmness in the room to help ease the minds and the attitudes of players that are fighting in tough times. You know, what have the Montreal Canadiens what has motivated this team? What's motivated this team to the point where I'm comfortable saying they've exceeded any expectation I had for them this season? I know the answer to the question I'm asking you. I know the answer. It's obvious. It's what the pundits and the experts were telling the masses at the beginning of the season. And that the Canadiens management, whether they chose to use that to fuel their team or whether the players themselves listen to the radio, listen to podcasts, read the print, whatever it is, I know the answer. The Canadiens are playing so well because most people that pay attention in this market said they were going to be crap. And they're not. And they're fun. And they're always in the fight. They went to Calgary, where the Canadian season annually goes to die, got outshot 46-19 on some Thursday night, and left with 2 points. And left with the goaltender, Jacob Markstrom, saying he doesn't even know how to play hockey anymore, and he sucks. That's what the Canadiens went into Calgary and did to the Flames. So, yes, this team is fueled, whether it's by the negative press and the preseason predictions. And then, of course, there's the attitude that comes with Nick Suzuki as the captain of this team. And that's an underrated storyline that is not getting talked about enough, in my opinion. And that's the fact that Nick Suzuki, in the first year of being captain of the bloody Montreal Canadiens, this guy is having a year. Right? Remember in the summer, you and I talking about the who's the next guy, right? Remember I said, oh, maybe Josh Anderson is the guy. I loved his attitude in the playoffs, right? Ultimatums, bad coaching games, bad performances. He's coming out in the post-game scrum talking about we can't do this again or else, right? I love that stuff. That to me is leadership. Show me leadership in tough times and I'm going to show you a real leader. And I got to tell you, I wasn't expecting, obviously, the results you're getting from the Canadiens, but Nick Suzuki's personal game, how well he's performed, right? So what does that tell us about the captaincy? How much pressure is put on a certain player? Because there was an argument there about no, give it to Joel Edmondson. You know, give it to an older guy. He's been on teams in the NHL. He's played in the league. He knows what's up. You know, he's not going to get ball busted all the time by the media. And even if he does, he's going to know how to handle the pressure. No, what'd they do? They gave the captaincy to Nick Suzuki. He got his number one center contract, and then he got the captaincy. Now look what's happening. And what a beautiful pass that was, right, to Cole Caufield. Cole Caufield scores his 13th goal of the season. That was also the 13th assist of the season Nick Suzuki has put on the board. Cole Caufield's ready for a 46 goal. He's prorated for a 46 goal season, you guys. And the chemistry is undeniable. And Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield continue to deliver. And continue to deliver. So all those little intangibles, those things we thought were going to happen, that haven't happened yet. And look, there's still 59 games left to go. 59 games left to go. And as I mentioned, I'm going to repeat myself for those that are just joining us now. The Montreal Canadiens have the second toughest schedule left to be played. Only the Florida Panthers have a harder strength of schedule than the Montreal Canadiens do as we move towards the second half of the season. Game number 24 in Edmonton on Saturday night, live on TSN 690. They've got games against Vancouver and Seattle next week, and then they're back home. Uri Slafkovsky scored the first goal of the night for the Canadiens 13 seconds into the contest on a brutal gaff by Jacob Markstrom. As we spoke about this week on TSN 690 on the morning show about earning versus deserving, right? And Mark Denis, who joins the morning show every Tuesday, every Thursday at 8:30, has done a great job in convincing and selling us about there's no deserve. Everything is earned at this level. Look, Mark Denis has played goal for Team Canada at the World Juniors. This guy had a long-lasting career in the National Hockey League, and he's a premier analyst covering the National Hockey League for RDS. So when Mark Denis talks, he doesn't waste words. He doesn't suffer fools. And Marc Denis comes from a very credible place, very well plugged in, speaks to guys in the NHL all the time, and still has lots of friends and players he played with that are still in the NHL. Some have moved on to coaching positions. So when Marc Denis talks about how coaches make decisions, how to not lose rooms, your ears should kind of perk up, focus in, and listen when Marc Denis, and he talks all the time about there's no deserve. You earn what you get at this level. And he's 1,000% right. But there's one thing here, right? Like as it relates to Juraj Slafkovsky, who I guess based on circumstance with the injuries to Gallagher and Hoffman yesterday, Chris Weidman gets bumped up to a forward position, that Juraj Slafkovsky starts the game with Sean Monahan and Josh Anderson. Can I get a hallelujah, amen, please? Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Because it's happened. Whether it's earned or deserved, he has earned it. Juraj Slafkovsky gets better. This is not a guy that, like Canadian soccer, regresses game after game after game. He's the opposite of the men's national program. He's getting better. He's getting better game after game, getting more shifts, getting more ice time, and now has earned the right to play with better line mates. And as one texter, a smart texter, pointed out to me the other day, I forget his name, I believe Mathieu, he wrote to me, you're right about earning deserving, but he doesn't deserve to play with kind of guys who are great at back checking, great at defensive assignments, grinder type players, Jake Evans, Mike Pezzetta. Those were Juraj Slafkovsky's line mates. And there was a point for me against San Jose where it's like, this guy's the number 1 overall selection, man. Like, he doesn't look garbage. Shane Wright's back in junior, the guy that was supposed to go number 1 now, went 4 to Seattle. And the Kraken they can't lose lately. I think they went 10-1-1 in November. So the Kraken are on a heater and doing it without Shane Wright. The Montreal Canadiens drafted Juraj Slafkovsky number 1 overall. Let's see what he's got, man. We're 23 games into the season, a little bit more. And it was good to see that this is a well-coached team. Shoot the puck. What does the kid do? Shoots the puck, scores a goal. Canadiens are rolling 1-0. Jake Allen, is this impenetrable wall in Calgary last night, and the Canadiens, improved their road record to 6-4-1 this season. So that's the difference, right, between earning and deserving. We got comments coming in. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. Glenn Bauer, what it do, Glenn Bauer? Glenn Bauer is on hashtag Team Tank. I get it, man. I get it. Like, I just, I too, whether it's Filippelli, Michov, or Connor Bedard, like those are the 3 big names, right, that all the scout and draft experts are telling us that these are superstars in the making. Like, get your hands on one of these guys and you're fast-tracked to success. I want those shiny toys too. Don't get me wrong. I want those shiny toys too. I want the Canadiens to have their version of Connor McDavid, of Sidney Crosby, right? Nate McKinnon. I want Nikita Kucherov. Take your pick of premier players in the National Hockey League today, right? They have a premier player in Cole Caufield. They have a premier player in Nick Suzuki, right? But can the rich get richer? Can the Montreal Canadiens find a way to get themselves into the top 8, where the draft experts tell us if you're lucky enough to get a top 8 pick, you're going to get a franchise type player. That's how deep this draft is. And I think with Ken Hughes coming out and talking about the fact that he publicly admits that he wants a 3rd pick this summer in the 1st round. Remember, he's got 2. He wants another one. I think that tells you his belief, being the Montreal Canadiens guys aren't going to fade away. They're not going to fade away. That's what I think Ken Hughes is saying. I could be wrong. Again, I referenced the strength of schedule. The Canadiens have the 2nd toughest strength of schedule to go. Only the Florida Panthers have a tougher one, which is great. Remember, the Canadiens have the Florida Panthers 1st-round pick, and the Florida Panthers are ravaged with injury. And so if the Panthers have the toughest remaining games left, things get a little bit more interesting, right? So there's part of me that does believe that Ken Hughes isn't looking at his team saying, well, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop because this team is going to find rock bottom. I don't think he sees that, you guys. I don't think he sees that. And seeing how they played in Calgary yesterday, seeing Jake Allen bounce back, seeing that Martin St. Louis says that Jake Allen is his number 1 goaltender. Because when you look at the numbers, between the 2 goaltenders that the Canadiens have right now on their roster, it's not close. Sam Montembeau's numbers are night and day better than Jake Allen. Night and day better. But between you and I, Jake Allen is the team's number one goaltender. I no disrespect to Sam Montembeault, I just don't see it. I just don't see Sam Montembeault and his game evolving to the point where he supplants Jake Allen. He shows that he's got the skill set to be a number one goaltender. I think the Canadiens have handled it very, very well with these assignments. Who gives you the best chance to win? So sorry, Glenn Bauer. I don't think the Montreal Canadiens, you may think and you may want that. And there are a lot of people that are with you that want Team Tank to be a thing in 2023. I don't know if the organization sees it the same way. Bob Merrier, what's up? Tanking, no guarantee to be a top pick. Growth through adversity is priceless. And Hughes and Gordon, we trust. Well said, Bob. I'm a big fan of this. And, we talked about, and we've seen some critics of the Montreal Canadiens suggest that, look, Sean, look what they're doing. They're playing so well. They got no pressure. I don't know if I agree with that 100%. I can't agree with parts of that, but not 100%. Really, no. Because this team, especially up front, they're trying to show to Martin St. Louis, Ken Hughes, that these are build-around guys. There's pressure on themselves to go out and be the best versions of Montreal Canadiens players that they can be. Yes, I get it. That, we're not talking about a Game 7. We're not talking about game number 79 that is must-win on the road in Boston, right? Like, I understand that. There's a difference between the pressure I'm talking about, internal, the pressure you put on yourselves. Like, we all do this. Like, I put pressure on myself when I started this podcast this morning. Like, do good, Sean. And yes, if I'm honest with you, if I go back to the first 90 seconds of this podcast, I think I sounded like shit. I could have done a better job, right? But I go into it with pressure to be good. And Nick Suzuki goes into every game with the captain C on his sweater saying, I have to live up to that. And that, my friends, is a version of pressure. And there is a difference between going into Boston, game number 79, having to beat the Boston Bruins in their barn in front of their fans in order to solidify your spot in the playoffs. We'll get there. But you know what doesn't make me worried about that situation? The fact that Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield were part of a team that went to the Stanley Cup final. And that is not nothing. And spare me the argument about how they got to the playoffs that year, that got them to the Stanley Cup final. I don't care about that. Once you get in the dance, baby, nobody lays down at your feet. You got to earn those wins. And the Canadiens, down 1-3, a sweep of Winnipeg, a 6-game series win over Vegas, and then out in 5 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Every single one of those games were pressure, and then some. So the pressure thing, I don't know. I don't know how much I'm worried about that being a real tough angle for the Canadiens players to overcome. I think they've dealt with some. I think they're dealing with some. And this whole season has been, this team is shit. This team is going nowhere. The players read the press clippings. The players have used that as motivation. And here we are. Talking about a team 3 games past the quarter pole mark. And we're talking about a team that is in the wild card hunt when none of us thought they'd be even close to it. So I think they've handled the pressure, and I don't think the pressure is going to be something that prohibits them from growing. Glenn, what up? We have 4 forwards carrying the team. This isn't going to last. Let's be real. I'm being real. Thanks for listening, Glenn. Steve Daniels, I would trade Mike Matheson. Interesting. I love the bull take. I'm going to tell you something. Here's another Matheson. Glenn Bauer back. What up, Glenny? Matheson is overrated. You know what? I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think Mike Matheson is a train wreck in his own end. I really do. But you needed you got to give up to get some. And the Canadiens lost Jeff Petrie. He didn't want to be here anymore. And now he's in Pittsburgh. Boo, Jeff Petrie. I have no problem with that, by the way. Big difference, right? You don't boo Sean Monahan in Calgary. You boo Jeff Petrie when he comes to Montreal. Big difference there. But when it comes to, you need offense. He's got a good pass. He's a phenomenal skater. He's a beautiful skater. But defensive zone coverage, my friends, there's a lot left to be desired. I'll put it that way. Contract 2 unload for a pick. Talking about Mike Matheson, right? I'm not at that point yet. Look, if anybody comes to me and steamrolls me with an offer for Mike Matheson, obviously I'm not at the point where I'm saying no. Who am I saying no to? I'm saying no to a trade involving Nick Suzuki and no to Cole Caufield. Anybody else? Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Do you even lift? I'm ready. I'm ready to make a deal. But it's got to be great. It's got to be great. But I'm not there yet. I think Mike Matheson is an adventurer in his own end. But I think he makes up for it. And also, look, even though I've said repeatedly, it's a bit of a repetitive message for me that I think the Canadiens have reprioritized. They've chosen hockey wins over politics in Quebec. It's not nothing that Mike Matheson speak French. And then after the game against San Jose, he did a whole interview en français. Even for me, a born and raised Anglophone in Montreal, I admit, I kind of like that stuff. I like the respect, and that's not nothing, right? So let's get into Cole Caufield. I've wasted enough of your time. I haven't really wasted any of my time. I really got nothing to do today. It's 10:48. What am I going to do? It's Friday. I'm going to go watch soccer when I'm done here. I think I'm going to go to a bakery. I'm going to get some desserts for tonight to celebrate. I don't know what. Lots of kids coming. Steve Daniels, what up? Lots of kids coming. Agreed. Logan Mailloux, man, not bad, eh? And they got that Hudson kid too, who's putting up big time points and stuff like that. I really hope, I'm parking kind of illegally. I'm in the city and I'm parking on a side street in downtown Montreal that's permit parking. The last time I did this, I got one of those green onion guys, and he gave me a ticket. I told him, I said, listen, I'm just doing this video. I'm just parked here, man. Like, give me a minute, And he says, I'm going to go do a turn around the block. And if I come back and you're still here, I'm going to give you a ticket. And I said, you do what you do, brother. And what did he do? He slammed his car in reverse and wrote me up and gave me an $80 ticket. So, part of me is paranoid. I keep looking in all my mirrors, where's the fuzz? Where's the fuzz? Is the fuzz coming? Don't forget, you guys, our email is always open. So feel free to slide into my email inbox. You got questions for me. And I apologize. I did get a few emails, some questions from some listeners and stuff. But I forgot to print them out. So I apologize for that. I'll do it on Monday. A reminder, you can find me here every Monday, every Friday at 10:30. We're going to do this live together. And Sundays at 10 a.m. Whether it's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/InTheCarWithStar, or here on our YouTube page. Just search Sean Starr in YouTube, and I'm right there. So every Monday, every Friday at 10:30. And then Sunday Sports with yours truly and Jerry B, Sunday live at 10 a.m. as we go over what's gone on in the weekend in sports. We look at the Canadiens, and, of course, we look at the NFL board, and we advise you on some picks like we did yesterday with the Buffalo Bills, minus 4.5 points. And, of course, we were on fire, 7-2 in our last 9 picks against the spread, right? So that's kind of where we are. Now let's get into Cole Caufield. The plugs are out of the way. Let's talk about Cole Caufield. Here's what you don't want to do with Cole Caufield. Bridge him. Don't do it. Do not bridge this guy. When it comes to what you have in Cole Caufield, and I will admit right here, right now, I was wrong. I was wrong in my analysis of handling Cole Caufield with kid gloves. I'm still a bit old school, and some of that old school tendency seeps out in my opinions. But as a 44-year-old grown man, I am capable of acknowledging when I am wrong, when my opinions are skewed and not totally on point, and I am ready to pivot and make the adjustment. That Cole Caufield right here, right now, is full value for an 8-year contract. And we're talking about the $9 million, $8 to $9 million a season for Cole Caufield. I think it's a dangerous game, you guys. I think it's a dangerous game that could burn you. Really, if you decide to say, you know what, let's bridge Cole Caufield with the idea of it's a 3-year or 4-year bridge, whatever it is, you could offend him. But he can make you pay financially for this. And it could, if we're talking best case, worst case scenario, it could be one of those situations where you piss him off. Says, oh, yeah, okay. You don't think I'm a franchise guy? You don't think I'm an 8-year, $9 million guy? No problem. Peace. I'm out of here after the bridge deal, right? Or he could just hold you hostage and just totally take you to the cleaners financially because you don't want to let this guy go. You can't. Hey, You can't let Cole Caufield go. That is just non-negotiable. So we're at that point now. And when we look at Cole Caufield, let's talk about what this guy has done. Remember, always keep this in the back of your mind. Whenever you hear Dominic Ducharme in the news about, he disagrees with Martin St. Louis' tactics, or he disagrees with the judgments the Montreal Canadiens have made, right? Or he's critical of the organization or critical of players and their performances, always remember, under Dominic Ducharme's watch, Cole Caufield was a minor league player. Je me souviens. Since Martin St. Louis was hired as the Montreal Canadiens coach and he came in to replace Dominic Ducharme, that was February 9th. Okay? So now we are 9 months into his tenure. Cole Caufield has scored 35 goals, 57 points in 59 games. Okay? So you and I have been doing this for a while together. You and I both know the answer to 2 trivia questions related to the Montreal Canadiens. Okay? Put your hand up. Who was the last guy to score 50 goals in a single season for the Montreal Canadiens? Who was the last Montreal Canadiens forward to finish a season with 100 points? Right. Stéphane Richer, Mats Naslund. Okay? It's enough. It's enough with a 40-year-old history. It's time to rewrite history. Cole Caufield and Nick Suzuki are going to be the new answers to new trivia questions about who were those guys. And look, the answers are coming. You guys are sharp this morning. Stevie, Glenny, boys. What's up, boys? No doubt. Right? It's time to rewrite history. It's enough with the 40-year-old nonsense. It's time the Montreal Canadiens, and they're on track to do it. Cole Caufield is on pace for a 46-goal season. Nick Suzuki is a point-a-game player, man. And these guys are young, and they will only get better. And they will only get better and more talented line mates, because I do believe Kirby Dach will be a centerman. This guy is a phenomenal player, and I don't think he's grown into his game with the Canadiens because he's a winger. And so when I look at Cole Caufield and I look at Nick Suzuki and their instant chemistry, their undeniable chemistry, you do what's right. Nick Suzuki got his. Cole Caufield has shown you it's time to give that kid the bag. And that's an 8-year contract, whatever it may be. Glenny, what's up, Glenny? Going to be 8 years, 7.95. Same cap percentage as when Suzuki was signed. And look, I mean, there's an argument to be made about organizational philosophies, right? When it comes to like Patrice Bergeron, right, of the Boston Bruins, he purposely told the organization and his agent Ken Hughes, I want less monies because he wants to build a winner in Boston. And if he takes up an abnormal percentage of the salary cap, then he's just going to be one man who's rich, who's going to be surrounded by a less competitive team. And maybe there's something there with the Montreal Canadiens. You know, when Brad Marchand signed with Boston, he went to management, went to his agent and said, I cannot make more than Patrice Bergeron. The organization philosophy is just that. So, like, I don't know if Nick Suzuki is Patrice Bergeron light, in that Nick Suzuki's number is the pinnacle. It's the summit of player contracts for the Habs, and that everybody falls a layer or 2 or 3 below that. I don't have a problem if that's the way they want to do it. But I will tell you this, I'll have a problem if Cole Caufield doesn't get what Cole Caufield wants. And I think we're at that point with this player that they've done this, right? And like we've seen guys like Rupe Hintz, right, of the Dallas Stars, for example, you know, kind of interesting, comparable. And he got an 8-year contract, just north of $8 million per season. And I think if we're looking around the National Hockey League and looking at like who can we look at and who can we look at to avoid the same mistakes, yeah, I think, you know, maybe the Dallas Stars, whether it's Robertson or Rupe Hintz, those are 2, I think, comparable examples that the Montreal Canadiens can learn from and say, you know what, we can take kind of what they did and apply that to our own player, and we're going to hit the ice running, so to speak. So that's kind of where we are with this. And I think, you know, Glenn Bauer, who's been contributing to the podcast today, here is this comment that he wrote to us, 8 years, 7.95. I think for a winger, a high-scoring winger, I think Glenn is right there, man. I think he's right there. I think that's kind of the financial stratosphere we're talking about. I do think centers get paid a little bit more versus a winger, but Cole Caufield's a dynamic, pure goal scorer. And I'll tell you what, if I'm his agent, I'm bringing up the fact that the Montreal Canadiens, in my lifetime, have never had a player like Cole Caufield. Ever. Full stop. So that, to me, is ammunition. If Cole Caufield wants to get paid, the Montreal Canadiens should be the team that lines up first to pay this guy and give him the 8 years and just get that contract out of the way. Make him happy, make the team happy, knowing that Suzuki and Caufield are going to be here for the better part of a decade together, right? So that's kind of where we're at. Steve Daniels dropping Steve Shutt. Look, and Steve Shutt was a few years before my time, but Steve Shutt, in terms of Steve Shutt's skill set and what he brought to the table, Steve Shutt was a selfish goal scorer. And I mean that the highest compliment I could possibly pay to someone, right? And that's exactly what I want Cole Caufield to be. I want Juraj Slafkovsky to be that guy. Shoot the puck. Let's go all day, every day, right? So in terms of Snipe City, yeah, Steve Shutt's a great comp. He was a sniper for the Canadiens back in the day. And in my lifetime, that does not include Steve Shutt, Cole Caufield is that guy. And so for the older fan that looks back with fondness on the era in which Steve Shutt played and the Canadiens were running up title after title after title, man, let's go, baby. I'm ready to run up title after title after title. That's what I'm here for. What else are we doing? Just wasting time. A reminder to join us Sunday in this spot. Wherever you're watching me live right now, we're over 20 viewers. Thank you very much. I see other podcasts, right? Like, what do we got? We've grown this together. We've got this. What do we have on YouTube? I think we're at 435 subs on YouTube and 1,600 on Facebook, on our Facebook page, right? And we're at 24 right now. I'm at 24 live views, right? I see other podcasts. I check in. I like to see what they're doing. Not so much their content, but I like to see what their format is. They have cool graphics, cooler. What can I learn, right? And some of these pages, man, they've got followers, 10 times more followers than I do, 10 times more subscriptions than I do. But guess what? You and I do much better live numbers. So I thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm here for you. You guys are here for me. That's why I only partner with the best of the best. You see the message scrolling on the bottom. In the Car 10 is our promo code when you shop for all your pets' needs at littlebearonline.com. Everything you need, making sure your paws for your favorite pets are protected on these salty streets in Montreal. littlebearonline.com still has Black Friday savings online right now, up to 80% off. You know, I saw some unbelievable doggy booties, some doggy booties there, and I saw they were like $70. Take off 80%. That's what you're paying at Little Bear. littlebearonline.com, promo code in the car 10. Good to see my boy Irish from Chateauguay. Shout out K-Stop Gas Bar and Depanneur, another proud partner with your boy in the car with Star. Premium fuel at discount prices and the best snack selection in the game. They've got premium booze inside too, tax-free, and the gas, premium fuel at discount prices, 24 hours a day. And you don't even have to get out of your car. So on a cold, frigid day like today, make sure you have some loose change. You want to tip the guy who's going to put the amount of gas in that you requested into your car. That, my friends, that is a tippable service. Don't be a bad customer. Make sure you got some coffee, you got some change in your cup holders in your car. Slide your boy a few dollars when he puts the gas in. He's out there in the cold, freezing his hands off. K-Stop Gas Bar Depanneur can be found Highway 138 in Ganawage, family owned and operated. Remember, right? Like during the whole pandemic, the whole concept of support local, that should not go away here. So support local, support me, support my sponsors like littlebearonline.com and K-Stop Gas Bar and Depanneur, Highway 138 in Ganawage. And I remind you again, you can find our email address in the car with Star at gmail.com, at youtube.com/Sean Star and facebook.com/in the car with Star. Sunday at 10 a.m. Your Sunday sports with yours truly and Jerry B, the Prop King. Anything else you guys want me to touch on today? We still got like close to 30 viewers here. And let's go. Second owner. I'd be shooting a lot too if facing those old goalies with skinny everything. Jacob Markstrom was a disaster. I don't know what Calgary is going to do. I don't know what the goalie market looks like. If you're like, look at Jack Campbell. Who saw this coming? The Edmonton Oilers pointed to Jack Campbell as the guy that was going to be the difference for that franchise. Oh boy, his numbers are putrid. I don't know what the goalie market, my friends, is going to look like, which maybe, if Jake Allen continues to play and perform well, he stopped 45 of 46 shots yesterday. Like, you guys are coming at me talking about trading Mike Matheson. Dude, I'd trade Jake Allen before I trade Mike Matheson. Who knows how desperate some teams might be for a goaltender? What are you willing to pay? Because I've got the goodies, my friend. You want Mike Matheson? You want Joel Edmondson? You want Josh Anderson? You want Brandon Gallagher? Who you want? You want Jake Allen? What do you want? I got shiny toys. Come at me. Give me that first-round draft pick. Thanks for watching, everybody. Support me, support my sponsors, and, of course, keep it locked here. Paul Legault, thank you very much. What up, Paul? How often you hit up the golf simulators during the winter? So far, the answer to that question, Paul, is zero. Zero, 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 zero. I have not hit a ball since my last round of golf, which was back in early November. And I do swing the club every day. I do practice my footwork in my house every day. I'm not the biggest. I'll be honest. I'm not a big sim guy. I could go hit a few balls into the screen, but I hate simulator golf. Like, I played simulator golf a bunch of times last winter. I swear to, I don't think I broke 100. I can't putt on those stupid things. I don't know. Maybe I'm just more of a feel player. I prefer to, I'll go to the Golf Dome in Kirkland, even though it's 100 yards. At least I could see my ball in real time fly in the air as opposed to smacking a screen and dropping right back down. At least I could kind of see, is my ball fading? Is there a tail to it? Am I drawing it in? Am I hooking it? What am I doing? What's my ball flight showing me? The screen for me just doesn't give me the feedback that I think I need. And so now that I have your attention, that Paul brought up golf, and if you get me on a golf tangent, I may never shut up, but I promise you I won't go long here. I got a request from a listener to this page who is looking for more from me, right? So we do the podcast Mondays and Fridays at 10:30, and we do our Sunday sports live at 10 a.m. And this request was basically with the idea of doing food reviews, because they think I guess I'm entertaining with food reviews, controversial with food reviews, and the other idea was golf content, right? So I'm on board with doing more. That's not the problem for me. The problem for me is, or the question, I guess, is, am I wasting time? Is this something y'all want? Do you want more variety? Do you want, you want to see me eating food and talking about what I'm eating and telling you that you should or shouldn't have this? And what about a round table once a week golf program that we share on our site, so whether it's Facebook or YouTube or wherever. And I thought about doing it with Simon Salikas. He's got an interest in wanting to do that. I thought about reaching out to any one of my favorite pros in Quebec, like Dave Hill or Johan Benson, so we can have a pro's perspective on this golf program that we would do together. But that would be again, if I'm going to do something, I have to do it. I don't want to talk shit. If I'm going to do it, I'm doing it, right? So before I jump in, there's no trial. If we agree that we're going to do it, we're doing it. So I don't know. You tell me. Hit me up in the comments. More variety, food reviews, local golf talk. Where in a hypothetical, let me try to paint this picture. Let's say it would be me, Simon Salikas from TSN 690, who's an avid golfer, not a good one, but still likes to play and has opinions, and a CPGA pro like Dave Hill or Johan Benson, and maybe someone else. The idea I pitched to Simon is well, we play golf as a foursome. Why not have four of us on the screen, right? And it would be about local golf, local courses we play, and golf headlines and golf news as we debate and hash over the latest from the golf world, right? So Tiger out of the Hero, Tiger and Rory both saying Greg Norman should resign, and then PGA and LIV could have a conversation. The merits of LIV Golf. Should LIV Golf players be allowed to play in majors? There's content, there's questions to be asked, and debates to be had for sure. That the content, and the information is there for sure, no doubt. But is the audience there? I don't know. So I'm curious. I'm curious. Hit me up in the comments. Don't be shy. My feelings won't be hurt. If you're like, dude, I'm here for your hockey takes. I'm here to listen to you talk about Habs rumors and whatever else. That's cool. I get it. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're providing feedback. But if you want more and are interested in more, you tell me. And again, constructive criticism is a good thing. We're all mature here. All right, buddy? So that's it, my friends. Oh, my Lord almighty. 45 minutes. Who the do you think you are talking for 45 minutes? My God. During the summer months, Steve Daniels, and suggest Habs in the wintertime. But that's also the other thing, too. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe closer to springtime, we can delve further into it. But yeah, I'm open. I have an open mind. No feelings would be hurt with any constructive criticism, as always. So thank you for watching. We'll be back Sunday at 10 a.m. with your Sunday Sports with yours truly and Jerry B, the Prop King. All the latest from the Montreal Canadiens in the aftermath of their Saturday night game. 7 o'clock. Reminder, it's a 7 o'clock puck drop in Edmonton on Saturday night. And Jerry and I will hash that game and go over the NFL betting board with our best picks. Reminder, I went 7-2 against the spread last week and looking to pick up where we left off. I was on the Buffalo Bills minus 4.5 last night as we kick off week 13. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you right here Sunday morning with Sunday Sports.